I feel bad for being as naive as I was about politics in 2008 when Barack Obama was first elected. I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. The guy that he's running against has the same amount of charisma as a week and a half old loaf of white bread. So what's the worst thing this guy can do? It was worse than anybody could have foreseen, okay? Barack Obama will forever be the teleprompter in chief, the man who lived on high, who kept a gated community around the White House and would not accept criticism from anybody else. Everybody had to run through Valerie Jarrett in order to get to the king himself, and he was never ever criticized by the media. They ran full press coverage, full press defense for the motherfucker. A lot of people forget that, okay? The treatment that Joe Biden is getting from the media right now, remember what it was back in the cut? It was at least tenfold, because if you made any criticism against Barack Obama, you were a white supremacist, or maybe you were just a basic racist at the time, but the guy was a fucking failure who crippled politics for generations to come because he weaponized identity politics. He ran on a platform of hope and change, but what did he bring? Division and blame. All he did throughout his entire presidency. Anything bad that happens during my administration? That was Bush's fault. But then now look who's all fucking chummy next to each other. Makes me sick. But then a couple days ago, he made probably the most tone-deaf fucking post I've ever seen in my entire life. Barack Obama slammed as tone-deaf for linking a Uvalde Massacre to George Floyd. And oh boy, we've got a list, okay? Because we did a video specifically on beta a couple of days ago. But everything that's came out afterwards, there's two high-profile idiots, okay? Also on the political left with just some brainlet takes, because you always expect the old gun control stuff, especially if it's not a white guy shooting things up, okay? And boy, did Buffalo just fade off into the background. I guess if we're looking at the victimhood hierarchy, it looks like black people are just a little bit below Mexican kids. So anyways, yeah, let's run down this brainlet take. Former President Barack Obama, and he's dumb enough to think that he would have won a third term. Whew, buddy. Was hammered for what critics say was a tone-deaf post linking the deadly shooting in Uvalde, Texas. I still haven't heard it pronounced yet, so whatever, forgive me for that. To the second anniversary of George Floyd's murder. Yeah, compare and contrast what I did on the sacred hallowed day of May 25th to what Barack Obama is about to do. The former president shared a message on Twitter Wednesday, three actually, a little thread that he had there that was about as tone-deaf as his presidency. In the wake of the massacre at Robb Elementary School that killed 19 kids and 2 other adults as well. As we grieve the children of Uvalde today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. This motherfucker couldn't even give a complete sentence to dead fucking kids before he had to bring up St. Floyd. You think it's being hyperbolic to just call him a deified figure on the left? Listen, you got the first half-black president, okay, linking together an actual massacre as to the death, or rather the overdose of a fucking career criminal. Definitely very comparable. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him. Yeah, like the pregnant woman that he held a knife to her stomach. Oh, I'm sorry, she wasn't pregnant. She just had a small child in the next room after him and his friends ransacked her house. As authorities in Texas are identifying the victims of the slaughter and reckoning with its aftermath, some critics slammed Obama for invoking the death of Floyd, who was helped along by Derek Chauvin during an arrest on May 25th, 2020. Yeah, that's his actual tweet. And we could actually, read the full conversation because we're going to transition on after this. This is brain dead, and he was getting absolutely fucking ratioed last time I checked. Let's take a look. I'm sure he's probably also tried to hide away at the... Nope, it's still right up there at the top. Yeah, he's getting roasted for this. Look at this ratio, okay? 67,000 replies, okay? 30,000 retweets and quote tweets. Oh, what are the quote tweets specifically? And it just keeps going up even days later like a fucking slot machine. As we grieve the children of Uvalde today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. I wonder if you were going to have a beer with Derek Chauvin. His killing stays with us to this day, especially those who loved him. In the aftermath of his murder, a new generation of activists rose up to channel their anguish into organized action. Again, already just moved on from the fact that anybody was talking about dead kids because they weren't all black, right? And that's his pet project. Launching a movement to raise awareness of systemic racism. Why didn't you do anything about that if it's such a big prominent issue in the United States? You were president for what, 8 years? And now you got your boy in the office right now for another, your theoretical third term right there? Anyways, launching a movement to raise awareness of systemic racism and its need for criminal justice and police reforms. Inspired by these young leaders, he still hasn't even come close to referencing anything when it comes to the massacre in Texas, but they didn't vote for Barack, so fuck off. MBK Alliance relaunched an imagining police pledge for mayors and cities ready to take action. Yes, so defunding the police and disarming them would somehow help them stop an active shooter in an elementary school? You lost the plot here, Barry. If you're wondering, you can make things a little bit better today. Donate to this other fucking sham action. But yeah, no, literally everybody's taking fucking pot shots at him. This is truly sick. 19 innocent children and 2 heroes were killed. And to the divider-in-chief, the real victim of Uvalde is George Floyd. This is Christina Pushaw. She is, the press secretary for Ron DeSantis, I do believe. I know she works for the government of Florida, but yeah. Jim Hansen. These are just just little tweets right here. Great point, Barry. Those school kids are a great segue to St. Floyd, fentanyl, the role model that all these kids should look up to. Seth Dillon. It sucks that those kids died, but remember George Floyd. He's who I'm still thinking about, Barack Obama. Yep, nope, exactly. And that gets 100,000 likes because it's accurate and fair. And Barack barely, with 200 million Twitter followers? He's like the most, 132, sorry. Just that close. Can only get 100 and probably, I don't know, you might get lucky because you could see constantly over and over again the updates that the retweets and the quote retweets, they keep going up. But the likes, you might get 110,000. But good one, Barry, yeah. And you're rightfully getting shit kicked for it. But then you got the current, I guess he's the president. I don't know who's actually calling the shots, but he's spurging out about, we need gun control because your assault weapons ban in 96 really worked wonders. They're stupid. Joe Biden suggests Americans owning AR-15s are sick people who want to kill someone. Remember, he was, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American I'm going to run as president. What? I'm going to run as president for all people. Yeah, that's nice. Cool. Calling one of the how many millions of people that own guns, calling them all sick because they want to kill somebody. Is that projection? Are we going to war soon? Something like that. President Retard suggested Thursday that Americans were purchasing guns like AR-15s for the sake of killing people. Okay, cool. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon but to kill someone? Yeah, like a home intruder. How about that? Or how about the hundreds of millions of guns that are around there that don't kill people? What if it's like a small group of psychotic individuals that should be addressed and identified by the society at large, and somebody, I don't know, takes proper care of them? How about that, right? Because nobody's ever been killed by anything else besides a gun, right? Yes, during his speech reading to a school shooting in Texas, or was he getting read to by school children? So he could properly formulate his talking points. The president repeating his talking points that owners of assault weapons, like an AR-15, did not need them for hunting unless the deer were wearing Kevlar body armor. He's literally dumb. It's just sick. On Wednesday, White House repeated Biden's talking points on social media. No, this is the official President Biden White House account, so he definitely did the tweeting. The idea that an 18-year-old can walk into a store and buy an assault weapon is just wrong. Why? If you also believe in the Founding Fathers, you went to school with some of them. There's a Second Amendment for a reason. Even though you pesky Democrats think that you can somehow finagle your way around it, don't worry about it. I don't know why, because how many other 18-year-olds just walk into a store and purchase an assault weapon? Hell, you got one fairly prominent one who was 17 at the time, went through and picked up an AR-15 and defended himself and his community a couple of years ago as well. Where's the celebration for that one, Barry? What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? I can think of multiple uses, but whatever, dude. On November 17th, 2020, Breitbart News reported National Shooting Sports Foundation, NSSF, numbers show that Americans own an estimated 434 million firearms. I would shoot one off in the sky, but this is Canada, and they're cocked. Nearly 20 million of those firearms are modern sporting rifles, firearms that the Democrats categorized as assault weapons, because you can never actually get like a textbook definition of assault rifles. It's just more like, I don't know, an abstraction, really. This is not the first time Biden has raged against owners of AR-15s, but now he's just taking it to a global scale. If you buy a gun, you're sick. Again, you call gun owners sick. I call people who fuck their cousin, smoke a copious amount of crack, and fleece the Chinese and Ukrainian government sick. So yeah, tomato, tomato. But instead of just playing the blame game, why not just do this instead? And I'm pretty sure that the people in Texas would be on board with this. And it also makes sense, okay? Because leftists like their very simplistic arguments and they like their little comparisons. So I'll go ahead and make a similar argument as well. We'll just get over what Lauren Boebert, she's at least the one who's being cited in this article, okay? At a minimum, schools need certified armed teachers. I would agree, because how many other things are protected by armed guards, okay? You have how many celebrities have private security? How many members of Congress have their own private security? Yeah, exactly. Don't want to be talking about that. You got jewelry stores that are protected by armed security, okay? Sporting events, but not schools where children are? Like, don't you think that kind of makes sense? Having the proper people accredited and certified, okay? Have people with concealed carry, so if any of this happens again, the only way that a bad guy with a gun gets stopped is a good guy with a gun, okay? And even if you got rid of all the guns magically, okay, there's still the truck of peace, there's still knives, there's still IEDs. Don't worry about it. Bad people are still going to do bad stuff. And then again, the words of Sammy the Bull Gravano, okay, you can make guns illegal, but criminals are still going to get the guns. If I need to commit a hit, I'm still going to get the gun. There's a couple more fucks in there and whatever, but criminals are still going to be criminals regardless of what you make illegal. It's just retarded. But yeah, no, it's an old argument, but it makes sense. Okay. On Wednesday, Representative Lauren Boebert used a tweet to say that that school security at a minimum should include certified armed teachers. Yeah, or just guards, something like that, for fuck's sakes. He also highlighted the hypocrisy of pro-gun control House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who regularly supports more restrictions on America's Second Amendment rights who enjoy the benefit of 24-hour taxpayer-funded armed security. Yep. Exactly. The hypocrisy, when it's exposed, is a little bit less excusable. Breitbart News noted that Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, this ought to be very poignant, another avid gun control proponent, made clear his opposition to arming school personnel for classroom defense. Yeah, of the current crop of teachers, I would say right now it's probably not a smart idea to arm them, but we should probably, fix the public school system for a multitude of issues. But for right now, in a vacuum, it's a pretty decent idea, okay? And hey, if you arm the wrong ones right now, just help them out and give them the concealed carry with the suck start option. But what did retard have to say here? As we look for solutions, that is important, because over and over, from Parkland to El Paso to Dayton to Udevale, armed personnel on site couldn't stop mass shooters who only needed minutes for mass slaughter. I would disagree, because it's one person, and if you have somebody else who's actually trained and not just an 18-year-old kid, they could have been taken down, and many other people could have been saved on that. But then again, I'm not a senator from Connecticut who gets paid from the taxpayers in order to make my brain-dead fucking room temperature IQ takes. But that's just me. Murphy did not explain his plan, but yeah, No, exactly. We look for solutions, but you know what? Hey, a solution, that one's not very good, even though it's logical and makes sense. No, that one's not good. We just need to have a conversation. Again, leftists' favorite fucking misnomer. We just want to have a conversation about mental health. Okay, cool. Let's have that conversation. You're a bigot. I don't need to have that conversation. Cool. So he didn't explain for when an attacker makes it into an unguarded school or past a lone resource officer at front door. At that point, only teachers and school administration members stand between the attacker and the students. Yeah, no, exactly. And Ethan Crumbly in Michigan, remember, what was that, at the start of the year? He went from classroom to classroom, and you're telling me that an armed officer, an armed teacher, couldn't have stopped him? You're telling me that somebody going from room to place couldn't subdue the armed individual? You're telling me that? Okay, cool. Again, he's got a narrative. Okay, Murphy's got a narrative. But yeah, no, I actually agree, and it's weird. It's from a woman. There are outliers out there, but she makes a good point. It's somebody else's old point, but at this point, if you're actually looking for solutions, this one seems logical. But again, the underlying problems with the overall school system are there, and they should be addressed as well, because if you address that, you would have been able to spot the signs of a bullied kid with the potential to shoot up a school. But then again, nah, just say that the parents created the monster, not the place where these kids have to be for, 150, 160 days a year? 8 hours a day? No, it has nothing to do with them. It's all those the parents that see them for about 4 hours at a clip that create the monster, and you should just go ahead and sue them and hold them and on involuntary manslaughter charges. Get fucked. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I'm Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.